Okay, hello everybody. I'm meteorologist Ashley Smith here in the First Alert Streaming Center on this Sunday. And so far, a pretty nice day. You know, earlier today it was the Bill Keating Jr. Great Ohio River Swim, where they take off at the Serpentine Wall. They swim across to the Newport side, turn around on a buoy, and come back and end at the public landing. And had pretty ideal weather. I'm not a swimmer, but I'm pretty sure that was pretty ideal weather. Very low current, so they were able to stay on the course pretty easily. And the weather was pretty ideal as well. So that was a success. Of course, it was dry. No threat of the storms kind of impacting that event either. Now, we are going to be talking about storm chances here coming up later this week. But overall, we're looking at really nice weather, just hot, very humid. So if you are going to be outside, if you have those plans to get out and about during the peak heating of the day, use common sense, stay hydrated. It's of course nothing that we haven't already dealt with, but it is something we haven't had in a while. It's been a little bit of a reprieve from that heat and humidity. So yeah, your body's just not necessarily accustomed to it just yet. By probably Wednesday or Thursday, you'll be thinking, well, this is getting old, or at least I will. I don't know. I don't love the oppressive heat and humidity. I'm okay with like warm weather. I don't like it to be really hot and really humid. Hello, Becky. Okay, so we'll dive in. Thanks everybody for joining me. As always, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comment section. And I'll be sure to get around to those here on the streaming show. Just making sure that nothing has changed too much from when I set up this show. Okay, so again, down at Newport on the Levee, from our camera at Newport on the Levee, I should say, of course, when they do the Ohio River Swim, they shut down the channel. There's no boat or barge traffic allowed. So now we're back to seeing that boating. Look at that temperature. As of 11 a.m., 85 degrees. Already very warm. We're going to climb into the 90s again today. That would be the second day in a row with temperatures at or above 90 degrees, but definitely not the last one. That's for sure. So lengthy heat wave will be upon us. Look here at Clovernook Country Club. If you can find some shade, that's ideal, because this is the type of weather where, and especially this time of year, that sun angle is still pretty intense. But if you can find the shade with those temperatures, you know, in the 80s and 90s, it does make a big difference. So if you're going to be out golfing, going for a walk or run, biking, swimming outside, yeah, that's going to be ideal if you can find any kind of shade. Radar right now, of course, very quiet. It will remain that way for, we think, until probably Wednesday. That's our next chance for rain. And then just kind of giving you a wide view of the entire country. While there are some storm chances out there, it's just nothing significant, nothing very drastic. Now, we will start to see the storm chances increase in the coming days, but still overall looking pretty nice. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to talk about. What is it? You tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them, then you tell them what you told them. That's like how to write a page, I feel like, in school is what we learned. So this is what I'm going to tell you. This is what we're about to talk about. That lengthy heat wave will continue all the way through Friday. Humidity starts to increase on Tuesday. I'll show you those heat indices, and then so do the storm chances increase on Wednesday. Right now, I mentioned Labor Day weekend, but I actually think Labor Day weekend is trending dry. But we'll have to keep an eye on some of those storm chances for sure. I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Let's talk about, let me show you again on the drought monitor. And by the way, the tropics still quiet, nothing that we're tracking right now, nothing that the National Hurricane Center is tracking, therefore nothing that we are looking at either. Which is good news if you're vacationing next week, because oftentimes, now, I will say, that's in the Atlantic. The Pacific has plenty of storms. They have 2 that they're tracking. So possibly 3, another one that's likely to become a named storm. But in the Atlantic, it's very quiet. So, you know, if you are going to be vacationing, Pacific Ocean could be a problem. In Hawaii, one of those storms, let me see where it was. And I don't know the pronunciation, but Hone, maybe Hone. Anyways, that one's like right over top of Hawaii right now. It is a hurricane. What category is it? Category 1 hurricane. There's another one headed that direction as well. So, but in the Atlantic, I know most folks around here are more likely to go to the Atlantic Ocean or maybe the Gulf, and those bodies of water are going to be fine. Okay, so we need the rain around here. I believe I showed you this yesterday. By the way, if anybody was with me yesterday, we had a power outage, and sometimes those power outages, once we get power restored, it's no big deal. We can kind of like bounce back pretty quickly. That was not the case yesterday, so I was unable to come back on and kind of wrap things up. So apologize for that, but we'll get through it today. Fingers crossed, no other issues. So parts of our region are in an extreme drought, Highland County specifically, and then you go into the Ohio Valley and it's kind of similar conditions. They really need the rain. Parts of West Virginia, southeastern Ohio. Here at home, many of us are simply abnormally dry. It means we're not necessarily in that moderate drought, but we do need the rain. And unfortunately, in the 7-day forecast, we only see chances for rain. Nothing significant, nothing that looks like it's going to bring us promising rain. So likely those drought conditions will continue. I want to talk about, before we get into more of the forecast, I want to talk about those storm chances. First, let's get rid of this. Hold on. For Tuesday, because that's going to be our next chance. Yeah, this is so frustrating. Okay. That's going to be our next chance to see storms, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So this severe outlook actually goes from Tuesday morning through Wednesday morning. Okay, let me show you where the greater threat is for severe storms. So north of our region, there's a marginal threat. It does not include Dayton. It's just barely north of Dayton and Columbus. So north of I-70, and then a slight risk even further north than that. Parts of Wisconsin, northern Illinois, parts of Michigan, northern Ohio, northeastern Indiana, all included in that slight risk. But even if the Storm Prediction Center drops that a little bit further to the south, I still think that we stay maybe in a marginal threat. But I think most of us will not see a threat for severe storms in the coming days. And I'll show you why coming up here in just a bit. As I mentioned, it is very hot outside already with those temperatures in the 80s, and that's as of 11 a.m. It's not even noon, and we already have temperatures in the mid-80s. 85 at CBG and Hamilton, 83 at Lunken, 82 in Lebanon. Richmond just a little cooler at 79 degrees. At CVG, we already have a heat index to speak of, so it feels like 87 once you factor in that dew point in the mid-60s. Winds are light out of the west. Sunset getting earlier and earlier, 8:19, so the hours of daylight definitely changing there. Again, let's look at what it feels like outside across parts of the area. That heat index in the mid to upper 80s. So that's what you want to prepare for. Of course, stay hydrated if you do have to be outside, find shade, limit that amount of time in the peak heating of the day for sure. Excuse me. Because it is going to become dangerously hot and humid. I would not at all be surprised, excuse me, if the National Weather Service issues a heat advisory or an excessive heat watch or warning, depending upon how that situation starts to trend into the middle of the week with those heat indices in the triple digits. So you'll see that happening here on Tuesday. We're close to 100 for the heat index, and then it goes into the triple digits Wednesday. It does it again Thursday. Very similar conditions both Wednesday and Thursday. You know, it's not only difficult for your body to cool down, but it's hard on all of your organs. It's hard to breathe, so it's hard on your lungs. It's hard on your organs to stay hydrated. So obviously your heart has to work harder. So that's why it becomes dangerously hot and humid when that heat index climbs into the triple digits. And that's exactly what's going to happen here throughout much of the week. First, let's look at the next couple of days. Excuse me. And we don't see any kind of rain. It's just going to be hot. It's going to turn very humid on Tuesday when the temperatures are in the 90s, dew points in the 70s, and it will feel like it's in the triple digits. Rain chances start to move in on Wednesday. Now, let me see if this particular model will go through Wednesday morning. I'm not sure that it will. No. Tries to bring in rain Tuesday morning. I don't buy that. Okay. Oh, let me look at the threats. Okay, so you'll notice here on this model, what happens is it tries to bring in that line of showers and storms into the tri-state here on Wednesday morning. That's why those areas north of the tri-state do have that risk for severe storms, because this line will actually be quite strong further to the north. And again, that's why these areas north of Columbus are included in that increased threat for severe storms. We are not. We do not have that threat for severe storms, not even a marginal threat as of now. But Wednesday morning is when we could see some of that rain. However, it dissipates pretty quickly. Watch how we go through hourly. Already by 10 a.m. it's dissipated. Now, that's just one model. There are other models that kind of keep it still into the tri-state, but it's trending toward dissipating as it moves closer toward our region. And that's what I kind of agree with as well. Let me go back. I fast forwarded way too quickly. So then on Thursday, we actually see the possibility for storms as well, but it's very scattered, very spotty storms across the region for Thursday into Friday as well. Perhaps Friday evening we have that chance for storms. We do have that in the 7-day forecast, you'll see. And then into Saturday morning, a few of those storms could linger. But I think overall the weekend right now is trending dry. So if you do have those outdoor plans for Labor Day weekend, I think they're going to be okay. It will be hot. It will be humid. Actual temperatures stay in the 90s throughout the entire week, all the way through Friday. We get a little bit of relief on Saturday. Again, the heat index closer to triple digits for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Overnight lows in the 70s, which means we don't get much of a break during the overnight hours. It stays pretty uncomfortable, very muggy during the overnight hours and into the morning as well. So really kind of the bottom line as we look ahead this week is that I think the big headline is the heat and humidity with temperatures in the 90s, heat index in the triple digits. I actually don't think I need to do this, but okay. Yes, so it is going to feel very hot, very humid across the region for much of this week. Storm chances really Wednesday morning, then pop-up storms possible Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, and then Friday evening we see a better chance for more widespread storms. So last week, Kristen, last week we had highs in the 70s and it was really nice. You know, overall, as we look ahead to kind of the extended forecast even, well, let's go beyond the 7-day. It does remain pretty warm. So we probably won't see, you know, those highs in the 70s. I mean, you do see a little bit of relief here in the extended forecast. Actually, you see more relief than I expected. Into next, this is not this upcoming week, it's the week after that. So the first week of September, actually this starts on September 1st and continues through the week of Labor Day. It does look cooler. I mean, those overnight lows in the 50s, that's quite a treat. However, we'll have to, of course, continue to tweak this as we get closer because most of the climatological models are saying that we'll still remain pretty warm. So, I mean, hey, that what we had last week kind of looks like what we're going to have for the beginning of September, which actually looks pretty nice. I prefer that, especially when we are getting into more of the fall season. Okay. All right, let me go back here. Okay, so again, another very warm day today. Okay, let's look at the dew points. So today, right now, we have dew points in the 60s and 70s. Of course, Lebanon and Batesville always reading a little bit higher with those dew points in the 70s. Most of that because of vegetation and topography. Not necessarily representative of what's happening across a large portion of the area. Now, those dew points are going to get higher in the coming days, and of course, that's going to lead to that more oppressive kind of air. Let's actually go to here. Those dew points will be climbing into the upper 60s, perhaps even 70s at times, and that's what's going to make it feel like it's in the triple digits. Now, we think really Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, not going to be much of a difference in the way that it feels with those temperatures in the 90s and the dew points in the upper 60s, low 70s. It's going to feel like it's in the triple digits. And yeah, it's going to be dangerously hot and humid. Again, that's why I wouldn't be surprised if perhaps the National Weather Service does end up issuing a heat advisory for those days because the heat index will be in the triple digits at times. And again, that's just when it becomes dangerous for your body to kind of stay cool, and for your entire body. It's not just, keeping your internal temperature down. It's all of your organs working harder. Obviously, it's very difficult to breathe when that air is that thick. So that's probably something that could happen. Even if it doesn't, just know that, we're telling you that it's going to be very hot and very humid, and, you want to limit that activity. It'll be interesting. Obviously, schools are back in session. It'll be interesting to see what a lot of those schools do for some of those sports activities and that kind of thing to keep it safe. Obviously, trying to push them either earlier before school or later in the evening, or moving them inside if that's a possibility. All of those things would be recommended, I would say. But yeah, even when we do see the storm chances, it just doesn't look that promising for us to see, widespread rain, much needed rain to really break this drought pattern that we've been in for so long. All right. Yeah, Sam kind of reiterating that. Kristen says, I hate the heat. I hate the electric bill when it's really hot, because obviously the air conditioner is running more and more. Yeah, I've done a lot of stories, obviously, in recent times, and really all the way back to the beginning of my career. We always do the stories about that extreme heat, and again, it goes far beyond just the actual temperature, doing strenuous activity, those types of things. It's much deeper of an issue than that. And the acclimation is a big thing. We haven't had temperatures like this in so long. We had our before yesterday, the last time we were in the 90s was a week before that. Then we had all that really cool air, and we kind of got used to the cooler air. We definitely enjoyed it more if you did have to be out and about. And now we're right back to that heat and humidity with the temperatures in the 90s and feeling even hotter than that. So, again, the biggest problem, I think the days that we'll have the biggest problem with that heat is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We start to see a little bit of relief Friday and Saturday. Saturday especially. The weekend right now is looking pretty nice, Labor Day weekend. Fingers crossed we can keep that up, because I know a lot of folks will want to get in some of those last pool days. Maybe the swimming pool is only open Labor Day weekend and then it's closed. I know that's the case for a lot of swimming pools. Or you want to go out on the river, you want to go boating, whatever it may be. It does look like next weekend should be okay for that. Okay. I hate summer, somebody said. Hello, Isabel from San Antonio. Okay. Okay, so I think that's all that I have for you now. I'm going to go work on some other things before I get out of here and, sweat. Again, we got to go right back to all that sweaty mess. Yes, okay, so Ethan Emery will have your streaming show at 6 now that we're back in business here in the streaming center. Of course, he couldn't have his show yesterday. And then I'll be back with 19 at noon tomorrow, I believe. I don't think there's any funky schedules or anything like that. But until then, I hope you guys stay cool. I hope that you're welcome. I hope that you guys stay cool, and I hope that you enjoy the day as much as you possibly can with, trying to stay cool. And I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.